All right, we're live. Good morning. My name is Kim Matina. Welcome to the Sweet Talk. Today is Friday, July 6, 2018, and I am so happy to have on the show Mike Marotta. Did I say that right?
You
All
did?
right. Mike comes to us as a ResNet certified assistive technology professional. Um, he is also, he was recognized as a 2017 Outstanding Educator from ISTE Inclusive Learning Network. He is also, he provides direct services to individuals with all disabilities for 30 years, and he has his own consulting firm, which is Inclusive Technology Solutions. And Mike has a lot of expertise in the learning disability area for students, and I'm so thankful that he's on the show. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Kim. How are you?
I'm fine. First off, we are from New Jersey. Mike's about 40 minutes north of me. I'm in Little Egg Harbor. Mike's in
Rick.
Bricktown.
Yep.
And we are under severe thunderstorm warning right now. It is thundering and the sky is opening up in our areas. So if by some chance we lose power or we go out, suddenly you will know why. It's because of the weather around us.
That's right. It's not because we don't like any of you. I mean, we've just decided to stop.
That so we're just making it known right now. So what a better day to learn, right? It's rainy out and there's nothing better to do. Stop cleaning your house and tune into the Sweet Talk.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to look at it.
It is, right? So Mike, why don't you go ahead and talk about yourself a little bit and then share some of your expertise on making learning accessible to all students.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. This is fun. Uh, I cornered Kim at a conference we were at recently, and I said, "Hey, I love your show." And then she said, "Well, do you want to be on it?" Well, of course, that would be great. Uh, so basically, what I do is I work as an AT specialist, so assistive technology specialist, and I work with kids with disabilities in K through 12 and help them work with technology to be successful. A lot of the times that's the Google tools. That's just kind of the nature of where technology and education is. So a lot of the work I do is on Chromebooks, is in the Chrome browser, looking at apps and extensions to help them be successful in whatever it is they're doing. Kind of interesting as I've seen the progression of the Google tools and where I had been previously brought in as a consultant for assistive technology, so very specific for kids with disabilities and very specific to their needs. I've seen lately, because of the fact that the Chrome tools are everywhere and Chromebooks are everywhere, that's kind of broadened a little bit. And now I'm being brought into schools not for an AT very specific need of one kid, but instead for looking at that universal design for learning approach to how do we meet the needs of every learner. Now we have all these tools in there in the classrooms and they're embedded into instruction and the curriculum is driven through these technology supports. How can we make sure that all the learners are being successful? And what we find is a lot of the tools that I would use or recommend for kids with disabilities work for kids. Doesn't have to be a kid with a disability. It could be just any kid. Anybody who wants to take in information differently, bring out their answers differently, whatever it might be. So this whole UDL approach to it has been kind of exciting. And it's been great because it's given that opportunity to level the field, not just to the kids with disabilities in classrooms, but those kids that are struggling, but not struggling enough to trigger something for people to help them with an IEP or something more involved, but struggling just enough to where they don't do their homework. They don't participate actively in class in the assignments. So now we're getting these opportunities to have them be successful. So I'll share a couple things. I know we only have a half hour and Kim knows me. I could talk for 3 days. It doesn't matter. I could just keep talking. The only thing that could stop me at this point is the lightning outside that'll shut down my electricity. But I'll give you some examples and we'll kind of dive through some stuff and we'll see what we get. Let me share my screen and let me do this. Sorry, you guys, you have to see this as it resets. I apologize. Okay. So one of the things that I did want to talk about, and I thought there might be an easier way to do it, and so what I did was I did a screen capture from my Chromebooks. I was concerned about my computers kind of flaking out today, so I did a capture of it to give you a sense of what the built-in accessibility features look like in Chrome OS, and really this goes for any tool. I'm a big believer of start with what you have. So whatever tool you have, whether it's Chromebooks, and I know we're talking about the G Suite and the Chrome tools now, but I'm going to go rogue for a second and talk about any other platform you might have, whether it's iOS or Windows or the Mac, whatever it might be, Android, doesn't matter. Every one of those tools has built-in accessibility features. We have tools built in now that help us do bunches of things and customize the experience to whatever we need. So when people say, give me the list of every extension that would work for me, or show me a bunch of stuff that I can download, my first thought always is to walk them through the features that they already have, because a lot of times that will solve their problems and they don't need to put anything else in. And as we found, most times the features that are built into the operating system tend to work better. They're baked right into the operating system. They live there. And so I always like to remind people about that. But I thought I'd kind of walk you through real fast. Well, that didn't work. That was impressive. All right. Don't everybody panic. Now you get a little view of my Google Drive. That's always fun. All right, let's see what happens. I wanted to give you some dead air. I thought that would be fun. Oh, come on. That's not cool. All right, well, all right, we won't do that. But what I was going to show you, and I apologize for that, what I'll do is I'll send the link to that video to Kim, and I'll post it up somewhere so that you guys can kind of see the different features that I was going to show. But a couple of them that were really powerful, and I don't know if people really know that the Chrome OS has had such an extension of its built-in features lately, which includes things like the ability to speak out loud. There's a screen reader built into it called Chrome Vox. There is the ability to speak text on any page called Select to Speak. Those are tools that are right there that can provide some support for people as they need reading support, moving through materials, whatever it might be. We don't have to jump to tools that might be out there that might give them more features, but if all they need is to hear it out loud, that's built in. I don't have to do anything else. So that was some of the things I was going to show you in the built-in, but if you have a Chromebook, take a tour through the Google built-in accessibility. Check it out and see what the different features are. Tons of stuff there. And like every other tool we see now, updating constantly, getting new features. Features are getting better. They're getting more robust. So definitely check those out.
Mike, quick question for you though.
Yeah.
If the Chromebooks managed through the domain of the school, can the students still go through the accessibility menu and enable those options to Chrome Vox and the Select to Speak?
Yeah, it's such a good question. As we go through it, and Kim, that triggers me to try this one more time to see why this video wouldn't load, because it'll show you. Because right now I'm talking to you on my PC through Chrome instead of my Chromebook. But on the Chromebook, there is an option that, and I'll just keep talking as I keep clicking. Sorry. There's an option to add the accessibility features to the system menu down at the bottom. So as you know, you go into your Chromebook and the bottom has the time and your profile picture and all those other pieces that tell you you're connected to Wi-Fi and all that great stuff. On that bottom, you can set it so that the accessibility features show up, because what we find a lot of times is that people have issues where the students are blocked out of the features. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second so you guys see me as I talk. So what's interesting about that is that if you go in as the administrator and turn that feature on, the kids would get access to their accessibility features right from that system tray, and they wouldn't have to go into settings. Because you're right, most times the kids are locked out of the settings. They can't get into them anyway. And then they can't turn those on and off. But if we turn them on, and in the Google settings, in the Chrome settings, there is an option through a slider button that says show them in system menu, show accessibility features in system menu, turn that on. And now all of a sudden, I don't have to go into the settings anymore. I can just jump right in and turn them on and off from a drop-down menu, which is huge. Because now we don't have to worry about it. And we've had that, I've had that with students in the past where we've had to find somebody. We'd have to travel through the school to find a tech person to turn on the feature. And then when we're done, we have to find them to turn it off because we can't get into the settings. And so that option becomes really nice for them to be able to move through that quickly and actually turn those on and off themselves. All right, so much for that video. So that video was a bust. Let's move past that. It's tech. It is what it is. We go past it. Kim and I decided before we started, we're not going to stress ourselves out about it. So
no worries.
There's thunder. Who cares? It's fine.
It's all good.
It's all working out.
That's actually a lot of good. I was just on my other Chromebook checking out the accessibility menu, and Chrome Vox and Select to Speak are like right there. Yeah. I don't have to go searching for them. They're like on a quick menu, I guess, under the settings.
Yeah.
So if I click on the settings and go to accessibility, Chromebox, Select to Speak, and a couple other ones are right there. I don't have to go searching for them. It's like in a quick menu. So those are very easy to find. Yeah, it's
so simple. And for some people, and I've had some discussions with people who are not seeing the Select to Speak, because that's the newest feature they put on in their built-in accessibility. If that's the case, I've been telling people, if you're on a managed device, ask your IT person to load the newer version of Chrome. That's fairly new, so I think that's probably some of the issue people are having, is that their Chrome is not updated yet. So just something to think about. If you don't see it, that might be the issue.
Yeah, good point, Mike.
Yeah, so we'll move from that, which didn't work. Let's move to something that hopefully will work. Let's see what happens. I'm going to share my screen one more time. All right, and I'll try this. All right, so now this idea of providing some support for students for reading and writing. And I'll show you an example of a Chrome extension. Now, this one has a cost, but it's so powerful, I want to show it anyway. So this one is called Snap and Read. And so this is a tool that when I turn it on, so there's this little extension. When I turn it on, it gives me a toolbar along the right-hand side of the page. Okay, so in that toolbar, I have the ability to hear text read aloud. So if I want to click on anywhere in the page and have it read to me, I simply select the little speaker button, move over into the text, and in theory,
the trickiest part, explains Ryan Haight Campbell, is the interview. You're not required to tell an employer you're deaf until the interview, but sometimes
so I can click that on and off. The highlighting follows. I think we're having some lag because of the video, so I'm not seeing the highlight as it's reading. But what you get is that text-to-speech support, the highlight as it reads, so it moves through and reads that out loud. What's powerful about this tool is that it is designed to read all text that comes across, not just accessible text. And what I mean by accessible text is this web page. There's text in the center of the page. The tool sees it. It reads the text inline as it goes. Perfect. Great. That's fantastic. But what if we have text on the side of a page? And so now we have an example of the main body of this article, but to the right, there are links that will take me to other articles, but those links have text in them. And if I want to read them, if I was to click this button and then select the text, it's going to launch that link and it's going to take me there. But what this also has is the ability to, through the use of this kind of crosshair on the screen, I can draw a box around any text on the page. whether it's in line in the article or somewhere else on the page. And when I release that, it scans through and then reads it aloud.
CULTURE, how the startup mentality failed kids in San Francisco.
Okay, so it was culture, but it read it as CULTURE. I think that had to do with the font. And so what I tend to show students with that is, if that's not working, make the browser window larger. So enlarge the font on the window, and then that usually clears that up. But what that tool did was, through OCR, optical character recognition, it saw text on the page, converted it into something that could be read aloud, which is incredibly powerful. You just think about this idea of not just a web page with text on it, but think about some of our electronic textbooks, maps, pictures, anything that is picture-based but has text overlaid on top of it. If a student can't read, that text is lost to them, because most of the text-to-speech tools will ignore that because they'll see it as a picture and they ignore everything else. And so what this does is finds that text, pulls it out, and then reads it. So we have this way to not only read websites or Google Docs or forms or anything that has basically accessible text, but now we can read anything. And this idea of not just accessible web pages and documents, but how about PDFs? If teachers share PDFs or there's a link to a PDF somewhere, this tool has a PDF viewer built into it. And what it does is that same function. It puts the PDF in it, scans through it, converts it so it can be read, and now I have my PDF opening. He continues to say as it loads itself up, you have your PDF opening to where not only do I have access to it to read it, but I also have the ability to mark it up as well. And so now I guess I probably could have loaded a PDF that wasn't 500 pages. Maybe that was probably part of my issue here. Sorry about that. I went with what was open. So this idea, here's a PDF, it's an entire book of a PDF. So I still, if you'll notice on the right-hand side, I still have my window. I can still perform any of my reading tasks.
Home automation projects for the evil genius.
Okay, so I have that ability. So now it's converted that to where I can read it. But then on the left-hand side, I also have a menu that gives me a whole bunch of other options where I can suddenly mark this page up. So I can highlight, I can draw, I can add text directly into a PDF. So now suddenly I have a document that was static and inaccessible for a student. Now it's accessible in a sense that I can have it read to me and move through it. And I can also complete the task because I can mark it up. So if you're working with someone who's struggling with reading and writing, now you have a tool that moves them through both of those aspects and lets them be successful and complete this. When they're done, they save it, share it back with their teacher, and there you go. They're all set. So this idea of being able to mark things up, move through tools, very, very powerful.
That is a great extension.
Yeah, it's great. And again, it costs money, has a subscription to it. So it's a yearly subscription. I'm not even going to say the price. You guys got to go hunt the price down because I'll only give you the wrong price and we'll just leave it at that. But the company who puts this out is called Don Johnston, DonJohnston, Johnston, with a T in it. And this is called Snap and Read Universal. It does some other things too. It does some what they call dynamic text leveling. So when I click that button, what the tool will do is move through the document and simplify text. So if words are too difficult in the text, you'll notice that anything that it replaced is now suddenly in italics. And if I click it, it'll show me what the word was originally. So originally the word was deaf. it replaced it with unable to hear. And then it also does translation, and I have it set to Italian. It changed that to Italian so that the student could get that support as well. So it has that ability to do both the word replacement and the translation services all in one. It uses Google Translate, so it got all those languages in it. Some of the languages have a voice, so it can read them out loud. Others are just simply conversion of the text itself. I'll show you one more thing of this one, and then we'll jump out to something else. This one is a reading tool, but it's also a writing tool. So now I have on the side the ability to add in outlines. So now as I start to read materials, I can also start to collect information for a writing task. And so now what we're starting to see is kind of this tool that brings the student through the entire process with the support for understanding the information, and then a support for providing some output for them completing a task. So them being able to demonstrate their expertise and their knowledge on this subject. And so you can do this in the outlines. You'll notice on the right-hand side, I simply highlighted it with my mouse. I clicked the little highlight button and it dragged that over. Now, what's interesting is that there's the outline information. So the information I took in from the article, I can also look at the sources. So there it is. So it does the citation for me, and it does it in multiple formats: MLA, APA, Chicago. So you have the 3 different formats that it will pull that information out in. So now my student can start moving between tabs on their computer, and I say it kind of half because I'm not sure if it's going to do it off this PDF, but let's see. No. All right, no problem. We'll do this one. So now any of these pages, now of course it didn't show up on that page. Kim will go back into the link for the email you sent me. So there I am back in my email, and it's still not coming up. It's going to need to refresh it. So I can move through multiple spaces and add things in there. But one other thing I can do, which is actually really pretty great, is that for some students, before I even show that, this big empty space does not help them organize their thoughts or organize the kinds of information they should be looking for. But what you can do is add in an outline template so that the tool comes with pre-stored outlines. So here they all are. And now suddenly I can drop in an entire outline for what I should be searching for. So now all of a sudden, I have this outline here on the right-hand side guiding me through the reading task. When I see something that is important on the right-hand side, I can drop it into my outline. There it is. It dropped at the bottom. Now I can move that anywhere through my outline that I might want and start dropping it in and filling in these pieces of information. So what's nice is you get that kind of support there of organizing your ideas, your thoughts, what you're trying to collect. And then when you are done, you can simply open up a Google Doc on the right-hand side and just drag things over to a Google Doc. And now you're able to just continue this writing process. So really powerful in a way that this supports the student all through the process of reading and writing as they move forward.
So the student can actually take that outline and just copy and paste it right into a Google Doc.
Yep. Yep. So if I open up a Google Doc, yep, all you have to do is just drag this over. And so each of those pieces are basically their own little clips of information that I can just drop. My computer saying you're opening and clicking too many at one time. If I can get it. Here, I'll do it this way. I'm going to cheat it out. Let's see if it works. Oh, I'm pushing my luck, Kim. I feel like
don't.
Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. So let's see if this works. You know, when you have that moment that you've pushed your luck with your computer and you're doing too many things at once, but let's see how it works out. So there I have my Gmail open. So I hit reply to the email you sent me. And then anywhere, I don't know if it's just 'cause it's not loaded all the way. There you go. So then anywhere I can put text, I can drag that information in. So it was highlighted. That's why it went away. Here you go. So now, anywhere that accepts text, I can start dragging over those chunks of information, and I can start formatting it in a way that makes sense for what it is I'm working on. So now they can do that in Google Docs. They could do that in a Google Form, Google Classroom. Anywhere that accepts keyboard input will allow them to drop that in and start their writing process. So a really powerful way to have them work through this process of, here's some information I need, here's where it needs to go. But it gives them that organization. And because this is a web-based Chrome extension, this information follows them. So whether they're at school or home, it doesn't matter. As long as they log into their account that this is connected to, those outlines stay with them. That information stays with them, and they can continue to work on it. So this idea of being flexible in where we complete our work becomes really powerful. This idea of this always being with me. And so that's been a really nice experience for students, is that this idea that I can start it somewhere, I have access to it everywhere as long as I log in.
I really like the multi-function of that extension, because a lot of teachers, they always want to be able to mark up a PDF file. Well, this gives you more than just markup. You know, it's provides a lot of differentiating for students, and with highlighting, reading the text, and creating the outline, translating the text into different languages, and, you know, breaking down, you know, difficult words. I think this really has a great, has an all-around package for education. They hit it. They hit the target, because, you know, a lot of the other PDF or extensions, they don't provide all these functions. It's just basically for markup. This
exactly.
And this, at least it gives a whole different approach to differentiating instruction in an extension that you would normally think that it would just read the text and that's it.
Right, exactly. And you're right, because what you see is sometimes I work in classrooms where the teacher's reading a PDF to a student so that they're able to mark it up, because the tools they have don't give all of those supports. And so now what you have is the ability to have all those supports in one to move them through this kind of from start to finish process.
Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, you know, we're always looking for, you know, the free tools, which is fine. I'm not saying anything, you know, negative about it, but when you're using the free tools, there's multi-steps involved with trying to replicate certain things, like, for instance, an outline. Here, at least it's all in one, everything's all contained in one application, and you can do multiple functions within it. I don't have to do multi-steps with using different apps, you know, or different functionalities of Google. It's all in here, which is really nice.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really great point, is that a lot of times, you know, people want those free ones, but that free brings with it a whole level of complexity of this idea of, do kids have to smash those apps together in order to get the functions?
Yeah, and sometimes you don't really have the time to do all that, and sometimes you're really supporting students because they don't know what you're talking about when you're modeling it. So you're individually, you know, supporting them, and then you lose class time also. So sometimes it's better to, if you can, it's always better to try to get the paid or the premium, you know, subscription or version, because sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that tool specifically for Snap and Read the way the company's selling it is you can buy it as an individual license per year, per subscription, but they also sell it as a school-based license and a district license. So now we start moving from that idea of individualized support for one student to a support for the entire school and a universal design for learning approach. And so that becomes really powerful when we start thinking about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, and then, you know, if you end up doing like a school or district license, you know, you can always provide professional development to the teachers that are going to, you know, try it, you know, and to see
Yeah.
if, you know, if it's actually worth it. You can pilot it with, you know, your more tech savvy teachers and, you know, get feedback from them, and then they can actually, you know, in their PLCs, they can provide the professional development to their team also. But you know, I'm actually going to look into it for my school and see what, you know, what the price is, and you know, the features of it, as far as like how many users I can have it with,
Right.
and it, you know, and you know, and see what I can do with it, because I think it doesn't just target special education students, it targets all students, which is what you're really talking about.
Exactly.
I don't really think that one tool is specific for students with learning disabilities. I think all students can benefit from it, because
Yeah.
you're giving them differentiation, you're giving them choice. So even if your highest students don't need these tools, they may prefer them because it helps them, you know, with their workflow, or actually comprehend the information easier, or allows them to multitask with different tools or different concepts. I'm right there with you. I mean,
Yeah,
I
really,
couldn't agree with you more.
yeah, it's interesting when you see that. And so a couple of the schools I support, they have that tool across the entire school. And one of the funniest things that one of the kids said to me at the end of the school year, he said to me, "Hey, I've been using that snap and read." And I thought, "Oh, great," because this is not a student that's served by special ed. So I'm like, "Okay, great, this is awesome." And he said, "But I'm using it in a different way. I want to make sure I'm allowed to." I said, "Okay, what are you doing with it?" He said, "I don't use it to read. All I use is the outlining feature." Perfect. Great. If that's what you need, of course you're allowed to use it that way. Use it any way you can. But I think that's important. Like you said, where all those features are kind of layered in there, pick the ones that work for you.
Exactly.
Support, don't use it. Use the one you need. And so, yeah, it's been really interesting. That's been a great piece. And can I show one more thing real fast?
Of course.
All right, one more thing, and then I promise I'll stop. And I could talk all day. This one has been really cool. This is an extension that I just found, and I love it because it gives us some flexibility using voice. And so what's interesting about the Chrome OS is that there is voice input, right? We have voice input through the keyboard for dictation. So people know voice typing in Google Docs allows you to dictate in. The on-screen keyboard has the microphone on it for voice dictation, but there's no way to navigate the computer with your voice. And so what I found was there's an extension, and it's called the LipSurf. Lip, like your lips, and then surf as surfing around the web, LipSurf. And what it does is allows you to move around with your voice. So the coolest command that I've found so far that I'll show you is this one. Annotate. It's got to catch up to me because it hears me talking. So if you'll see on the top, it's got the little box. So it's trying to listen to me and figure out what I'm saying. And it's struggling, but that's okay. I'm going to see if it gets to that command. Come on. I'm going to turn it off so it stops listening to me. And then I'm going to let it process what it was trying to. So it's done. And then I'm just going to say the one command when I turn it on. So the command is annotate. And what it does is you're going to notice as you move through the screen, every place on the screen that is a clickable link will have a little 2-letter code on it. So it will let me navigate around the screen using my voice. So let's see, I'm going to hope that it's done.
Mike, what are those words up at the top?
It was trying to process what I was saying. So that's it doing its voice recognition. So it was trying to figure out, and it seems like it's still trying to figure out what I was saying.
Okay, so that's from that app then.
Yeah, that's from that extension. And so what it's doing, let me try to refresh this page and let's see, is it still was trying to process my speech. And so it's not showing me the command. But actually here, I'll go to the page. But what's interesting about it, so it's called LipSurf, and play with it on your own, considering that it's having a weird moment with me right now. But it has plugins for your Chrome browser, and then all of these supports that it will do for you. And these are all voice commands that will allow me to navigate around. Annotate shows me everything on the page. Then it will give me a link to go there. Auto scroll, click, close tab, go back, go forward, new tab, next tab. All of these things that require me to click and physically move around. This is every function that the dictation piece in the Chrome OS doesn't give me yet. I think at some point we'll see it, but right now it doesn't give it to us. So you'll see there's only a couple places where it actually works. Works in the browser, it works in Google itself as the search engine, and it works in Reddit. Those are the places where it works now. But try it. It's really a pretty cool little thing. And the fact that it's completely locked in now, as I won't share it. So I guess I lied and I said it would be a minute, but LipSurf is what it's called. And it's still trying to read me. I'm going to shut it off so it stops. There you go.
I got to play with that.
Yeah, I just found that like 2 weeks ago, and I love that idea because there are times where not only am I working with people with learning disabilities, but people with physical disabilities. And the issue is that with people with physical disabilities, the Chromebook is great. It's light. It's inexpensive. It does what they need to do on the web, but they can't control it with their voice. So they end up going to something like a Windows computer and something that's a little more involved, might be more expensive. But if we can get that extension working for somebody, now they can navigate around all with their voice and just surf right with their voice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so pretty cool. So check that out. LipSurf is what that one's called.
Yep, I'm going to check that out myself too. I learned a lot from you today, Mike. Thank you so much.
No problem. My pleasure.
I'm really glad you were on the show and shared a lot of your expertise. You know, it's always good to connect with people and to learn from each other and share, because that's how we all grow, right? We all grow and reflect that way. So
without a doubt, yes.
Yeah. So thank you for being on the show today, Mike. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my screen really quick. And if anybody would like to be on my show, you can go to my website, bit.ly/the Sweet Talk website, and you can actually just Google the Sweet Talk. And my search results, I am the first one that comes up. If you click on the guest tab, you can fill out this form, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. This form just gets information on what you would like to present on my show. If you'd like to see any of the past episodes, you can go to the episodes tab, and you can see all of the topics, the links and the show notes here for all of the episodes that I've done. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please visit bit.ly/the Sweet Talk channel and subscribe. That way you'll be up to date on when a new show becomes available. And let me go back. And I'm back.
There you go.
And that's it. So if anybody would like to get in touch with me, you can also email me at sweettalkshow@gmail.com. And I just want to thank Mike again for being on the show and sharing all his information. We available through Twitter, email, his website. All of his contact information will be on the public show. So if you want to reach out to him, do so. I know he's busy, but he would always get back to you. He's very helpful that way.
Thank you. Yes, for sure. Love connecting with people. So definitely reach out and sign up to be on the show. It's fun. Do it.
We try to make it fun. It's the no stress show.
We both made it through, and the weather has passed. It's not even raining at my house anymore.
No, I know. It's still pretty dark out here, but I don't hear the thunder anymore. So I think we're in the clear for right now.
We've gotten through it.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. Enjoy your weekend. Get to LBI if you can.
Yeah, you too, Kim. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Bye.
Okay, bye.